Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the strategic advantage of buying Kansas City rentals during the December through February window. If you want to optimize your acquisition strategy, understanding these seasonal market shifts is absolutely critical. We're going to look closely at some fantastic data compiled by Alpine Property Management Kansas City to uncover a very specific edge for buyers.
Let's run through our roadmap really quickly. We're going to cover the spring buying trap, Kansas City winter market data, the winter leasing catch, planning your winter turn, fast-tracking your marketing, and finally, your investor action plan.
Section 1. The spring buying trap.
Let's be real, there is a massive difference between competing against a flood of buyers in the spring versus leveraging the quieter winter market where sellers are actually highly motivated. Most out-of-state investors feel totally safe targeting April or May closings because, well, inventory is high. They're all watching the same safe searches and touring the exact same three-bedroom brick ranches in Raytown and Independence as everyone else. But that is literally the most crowded and competitive buying window of the entire year. In contrast, the winter window from December through February sees a significantly thinner buyer pool. The families who are timing relocations to the school year and the buyers executing fresh acquisition budgets, they just haven't shown up yet.
Section 2. Kansas City winter market data. Now take a look at this number. Heartland MLS data established the Kansas City Metro median sales price at exactly this cyclical low in December 2025. This $320,711 figure represents the true winter price floor. The buyers who are active during the holidays tend to have real, hard deadlines. Think of an investor with a 1031 exchange clock running out. Meanwhile, sellers who are still listed are often dealing with urgent situations rather than just, testing the waters.
Now compare that directly to July 2026, where the median climbed to $349,900. This proves that winter buyers completely skip that nearly $29,000 summer premium. Sure, some of that roughly 9% climb is just ordinary year-over-year appreciation, but a massive chunk of it is simply buyers paying a premium to compete for listings during the spring and summer sprint. When you buy in the winter, you bypass that artificial spring inflation completely.
This matrix compares Q1 versus Q2 and Q3 closings across several factors, and it shows exactly why sellers are more willing to negotiate in January. Just look at the seller motivation. A seller sitting across the table in January is statistically way more likely to negotiate on price, closing costs, or even inspection repairs. They might be relocating for a new job, settling in a state, or maybe dealing with a stale listing that just sat through the fall without a single offer. The data clearly shows how the environment shifts from a thin pool with weather limits in the winter to a completely full pool with multiple offers in the spring.
Section 3. The winter leasing catch.
Now you might be wondering, does the winter discount actually improve rental yield? We need to ask if this seasonal price drop truly improves the bottom line for an investor collecting typical market rent. Because let's face it, a vacant house in January doesn't magically fill itself the way one does in April. If your January closing results in an empty house just sitting there until the spring rush, you've totally lost your advantage.
So let's run the math. Assuming a constant $1,300 to $1,400 monthly rent, buying at the December median mathematically increases your gross yield by a full half point compared to the July peak. Since the rent holds constant across both scenarios, the entire swing in yield traces directly back to that lower purchase price. That half-point boost is a serious competitive edge, but only for investors who know exactly how to navigate the operational challenges of a winter purchase.
Which brings us to Section 4, planning your winter turn.
To capture that yield safely, you absolutely must plan your winter property turn meticulously. You have to mitigate weather delays and compliance bottlenecks. Keep your crew productive by scheduling interior work, like flooring and paint, first. Exterior projects, like roofing or pouring concrete, simply cannot proceed below freezing. A property turn that might take 2 weeks in June can easily stretch to 4 or 5 weeks in January if you're just waiting on workable weather. Interestingly, Alpine notes that a typical Class B turn runs about $2,500 to $4,000 year-round. The cost doesn't change much by season, but the timeline absolutely does. Also, if a winter inspection reveals roof issues, a contractor might charge a premium for weather protection. You need to price that specific risk into your offer before you even close.
Here's a crucial operational detail where jurisdictional differences really matter. For properties on the Missouri side, it's absolutely critical to file the KCMO Healthy Homes Rental Permit application immediately at closing. You want to beat the massive spring surge of registrations. The cost is highly manageable at just $25 per unit plus a $25 application fee. But if you wait until March to file, you're going to be sitting in a queue behind every other owner in Kansas City, Missouri who delayed their paperwork. Getting this moving while the ground is still frozen gives you a massive operational advantage.
Section 5.
Fast-tracking your marketing. Next up, we need to focus on how to compress the timeline between taking ownership and actually placing a qualified tenant. Following these exact steps ensures your property goes live the exact same day it becomes show-ready. This effectively lines up a first-quarter lease before you even close. Winter is the one season where a good contractor can usually start within days rather than weeks, so make sure to lock them in during your option period. And this is vital. Get your listing photos, your pricing, and your marketing copy prepped before the make-ready work is entirely finished.
Marcus Painter, the founder of Alpine Property Management, perfectly summarizes this. He says, "The marketing clock starts before the maintenance clock stops, not after it." That is the exact operational strategy they use for maintaining a 14-day vacancy average even during the difficult winter months. This gets right to the heart of the matter. The properties that get successfully onboarded and leased between December and February are the ones where the planning work was done well in advance. The slow season is your time to prepare, so that when the property is finally ready, the marketing is already working for you.
Section 6. The Investor Action Plan.
We've covered the data and the execution strategy, so let's wrap up with how to actually put this knowledge to work. All of the data and strategies we looked at today come from Alpine Property Management Kansas City. Founded by Marcus and Cara Painter in 2013, they manage over 250 properties across the metro area. Their operation provides a real-world look at how transparent reporting and proactive tenant placement can maximize yields, whether you're buying in the peak of summer or the dead of winter. A quick reminder though, please treat this content as purely educational. It is not intended to be legal or tax advice.
So the data is crystal clear. Buying during the winter months in Kansas City offers a distinct pricing advantage, but only for those who are operationally prepared to execute a fast turnaround and an early first-quarter lease-up. The real question is, will you follow the crowd this spring, or will you take advantage of the winter freeze? For help managing your Kansas City rental property, call Alpine at 816-343-4520 or visit alpinekansascity.com.